Hey, it's Fat Man's back. Thought I'd get like I said, I don't do any one project at a time. I usually have 2 or 3 of them going at once. This is at Marlin, or Glenfield. Glenfield Model 60. Made by Marlin, same thing. So I'm going to start disassembling this. I'm not going to do anything with the stock just yet, because I haven't decided what I'm going to do for a stock. The ATI Fiber Force is probably 45 bucks or so. I don't know if I want to mess with it. This one isn't in bad shape, but this will be part 1. Most of what's wrong with this stock can easily be fixed. So, that being said, grab a screwdriver. This screw needs to come out. And on your trigger guard, it's the back screw. Now I haven't done anything with this yet. So you're seeing everything for the first time just like me. The screw out and the stock comes off, which everything in there looks pretty good. The trigger has actually has a little bit of corrosion on it. It's chrome plated, the chrome is coming off. That kind of stuff can happen just from sitting around too much. So, slide that up there. The rest of this, I can see too, and I can see it when before I got it, that the feed throat would need to be replaced. So we'll take that ride too. But as I'm sitting here looking, everything really doesn't look all bad. Pull our magazine tube out. I did clear the weapon before I started anything on it. So this is brass, and it's a little tarnished and stuff, but that'll polish right out if we want to, which I probably will just to get the protection on there. Polish will also protect. The end of the knob here is kind of rusty, but we're not going to worry too much about that right now. We are going to take most of the action out and take a look at it. So there's a screw here, and there's a screw. This one has screws, some of them have pins. This has a screw on each side. So let's get those out. Now this screw is like a Chicago screw, so the other side of the screw is actually a nut. So we want that out. Hold a finger on the other side. This side is the nut. And I'm just gonna put them together so I don't lose them. The other one is 2 screws. And part of the reason for getting this one, it is exactly the same as the other one that I have, except the color of the stock, and I think that's just because I have no idea where this sat. It's got some paint marks on it and stuff. And, my other one was obviously well taken care of. So, right there, we have the action. And it's still wet, which is a good thing. But I can clearly see that the feed throat is the old style. It's a 2-piece deal, which the newer ones are a 1-piece. The newer one also has a different spring, and the spring is used for an ejector, and I don't care for that. The other Glenfield, sorry about the squeak, I changed the feed throat to the new style feed throat, but I kept the old spring, but I changed the lifter. looking at this, judging by some of the wear, and I'll take some photos of some of this stuff and put them at the end just so you can kind of get a little better idea. Judging from some of the wear on the hammer and the lifter, looks like it's fired a round or two, so I am kind of leaning towards maybe seeing if it's going to work. But I'll try to compare it. I still have the old feed throat out of my other one, which I know didn't work. And I might just take the two and compare them and see what we got. And when you take this apart, there are some E-clips, very small, 3/32 or something like that. Very, very small E-clips. And I'm kind of looking at this, and I'm almost thinking there's a couple of them missing. To be honest, there should be, I'm thinking one on each side over here, but I could be wrong on this one. You never know. The buffer doesn't look like it's been fired a lot, so let's pull the bolt out. There's the bolt handle. With these, you want to be really careful. The spring is pretty delicate. You want to be as careful as you can. I've seen a lot of bent springs. This one's in good shape. My other one was okay. If you're not careful, you can bend it pretty easily, which just means that it's not going to work perfect. From looking here, I can see some wear on the top of the bolt where it would have ridden against the top of the receiver. A little bit of wear on the sides. It really looks pretty darn good yet. I'll probably take the serial number up with me and run down the year. And what the year of manufacturer was. I generally don't. There's two extractors on a lot of these old rim fires. And I don't generally take the bolt apart any farther than what it is right here. Unfortunately, you can't take the firing pin out of these without driving this pin out. And that pin is not a fun pin to get out. It's very difficult to push out. I honestly don't think it's made to come out, but it will come out with the right amount of force. My other one has been taken apart that far. But really, it looks pretty clean, so I'm probably not going to mess with it. This extractor appears to be working okay. So does the other one. So I'm probably just going to give the bolt maybe a good cleaning. Maybe a tad bit of polishing. The bolt handle looks great. No need to mess with that either. So inside the receiver looks good. Looks very good. So I'm going to set the barrel aside, and we will work on that another day. Stuff all over my bench. I want to take this apart because I think I am missing two E-clips on here. I don't know why they're not there. So what I'm going to do is take this small screwdriver and take it apart. What's going to be the best way to do this? There is a spring here, your hammer spring, and it comes back. With the hammer in the cocked position, take a paper clip or a small piece of wire, and there's a hole in the end of it. So, stick something in there so that it doesn't come off. And you can easily trip your hammer. Again, then the spring will come back down against that. There's grooves there, and there should be E-clips on them. Good thing when I forgot about my other one. I picked up some spares. So there's our buffer. That pin stays. Want to take the spring, pop it over. This one, pop it right out of there. So that's your lifter spring. This end will come up over the, over the feed throat. There's a groove on the other side there to hook into your lifter. Which, now that I've got it out, there's some wear here, and I'm thinking, from looking at it, I'm thinking somebody tried to file that and polish it. That's what that looks like. It's not very gritty. So somebody might have had this done and decided it won't feed hollow points, which is typically what they don't feed. My other one would not feed anything, hollow points or solids, and I'm not going to try this one because it's just too chilly to go out. But that's what it looks like. Somebody tried to do some tinkering. I'll show some pictures of that too. Anyway, your feed throat then comes right off. And this is, obviously it's a two-piece design. You can see the seam. I don't doubt that the other ones are a two-piece design either. But, like I said, I've got my old one, so, which I know didn't work, and I'll take some measurements. Maybe this one will work. I don't know yet. We'll find out. I got a feeling that's why this was in the gun store. So, take our hammer out. Yeah, that doesn't, wear-wise, you can see where it's got some wear on it, but it really looks pretty good. You can feel the grit in here on some of these parts. And I'll take this and I'll take everything, it'll come totally apart and every piece will get cleaned. Just because I'm kind of anal retentive that way. This, we need to pop this clip off. I've been told a friend of mine has one of these. His is a Marlin, I believe. I believe this is a replacement disconnector. Just from the way it's built. The disconnector spring. Yep, I'm just making a little pile. I've had my other one apart enough times that I know where everything's going to go. So, let's take our hammer spring, or our sear spring off. And pull the sear out. I mean, really, it's not that dirty. A little bit of rust on the sear, but from what I can see so far, it looks, nobody's been messing with it. You know, it's still intact. Doesn't look like anybody's tried to turn it into full auto or anything stupid like that, because that can really, really mess up a really fine gun. And these Model 60s are some of the best. My other one will shoot MOA at 100 yards, roughly. Well, maybe 2 minutes at 100 yards. I've showed some of the groups off of it, and most of those were kind of freehand. They're not so much freehand, but just kind of sitting on a bench, not really from a rest or anything. When I put it on a rest, I put a 5-shot and make a little clover leaf at 50 yards. So it shoots very well. And hopefully this one will do the same. These have a what's called a micro groove rifling. So instead of 4 or 5 or 3 grooves, it's like 16 grooves in there. So there's a lot of them. But most of this looks wonderful. And it looks like just a little cleaning is going to take care of it. So I'll get that other feed throat out. I'll take some measurements and see what I got. But for an initial disassembly, I think we've got it pretty well licked. I'm going to pop the rear sight out teeny steel hammer. Now, I'm refinishing a lot of this anyway, so I'm not going to be real concerned about what happens to it. We're going to try not to make too big a mess though. So we're going to do this slow. She's going nicely. Came right out. Didn't even have to hit it very hard. But I can see there's rust on the rear sight, which we want to take care of all this rust. We don't want any of that to make things worse. Under the rear sight on the barrel there's a little bit. There's a little pitting up towards here, and that we need to take care of. So this ought to come out too, up in the front here. For the magazine tube. If I thought any of this was going to fight me, I would not be using a steel hammer. It came right out. So pleased that it did. There's a pin that goes through the mount here, and I'm not going to take that pin out. But that little bit of hammering did absolutely nothing to it. Didn't even make a mark. So I'm going to have to do something with this rust. It's pretty severe at this point. It's pitted terribly bad. The bottom of the barrel looks pretty rough too, but I think that'll clean up pretty well. Maybe with a little, one of my favorites is steel wool and oil. Seems to work pretty well. I'm going to take a few pictures of this, of all these parts, so you can see what I'm talking about a little better, in a little more detail. So I'm going to leave that sitting there. Just like that, so you can kind of see. I'll leave my rear sight here. I'm going to put a lot of stuff in each picture so you can just see it and get it over with. But, for the most part, I don't think it's been used very much. It's in pretty good shape. So, I'm going to clean up rust, and I'll take some pictures. I will probably show you what I do to clean up the rust and let you see that. So, that being said, be looking for the second part. Stay safe. God bless.